Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram cha Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Diriye Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. So continuing with that discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 7, the killing of the demon Trinavrata. Text 26 onwards. Trinavarta Shantarayo Vatyaru Dharo Haran Krishnam Nabhogato Gantum Nashakno Bhuribhara Bhrit. Having assumed the form of a forceful whirlwind, the demon Trinavrata took Krishna very high in the sky. But when Krishna became heavier than the demon had to stop his force and could go no further. Here is a competition in yogic power between Krishna and Trinavartasura. But by practicing mystic yoga, asuras generally attain some perfection in the 8 siddhis or perfections, namely Anima, Lagima, Manima, Prapti, Prakame, Ishitva, Vashitva, and Kama Vasaita. But although a demon may acquire such powers to a very limited extent, he cannot compete with the mystic powers of Krishna. For Krishna is Yogeshwara. He is a Yogeshwara, the source of all mystic powers. So, but the demons, they think they can compete with Krishna, or they can kill Krishna, they can defeat Krishna. There's no way. Krishna shows them again and again. No one can compete with Krishna. Sometimes, of course, having acquired a fragmental portion of Krishna's mystic power, asuras demonstrate their power to the foolish public and assert themselves to be God, not knowing that God is the supreme Yogeshwara. Here also we see that Trinavarta assumed the Mahima Siddhi and took Krishna away as if Krishna were an ordinary child. But Krishna also became a mystic, Mahima Siddhi. When Mother Yashoda was carrying him, he became too heavy that his mother, who was usually accustomed to carrying him, could not bear him and had to place him down on the ground. Thus Trinavarta had been able to take Krishna away in the presence of Mother Yashoda. But when Krishna high in the sky, so Krishna became heavy for Mother Yashoda and then became light for Trinavarta to carry him. But when Krishna high in the sky assumed the Mahima Siddhi, the demon, unable to go further, was obliged to stop his force and come down according to Krishna's desire. One should not therefore compete with Krishna's mystic power. One should never do that. But this is the difference between devotees and demons. Devotees, even if they have any siddhis, they don't want to use them, or they don't want to show it off. But demons, even if they have very little power, they want to show it off, and they want to compete with Krishna. They want to defeat Krishna. Not possible. Even compete with Krishna, maybe not in the presence of Krishna, but if somebody wants to show off that he is the controller, he is a proprietor because he has this kind of siddhi, then definitely it's a Trinavarta mentality working in him, and Krishna will come and kill him. If not Krishna's devotees, Krishna will definitely come and kill him. So point is, any powers anybody has, anything of any opulence, it's all by the mercy of Krishna. And it's as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Yatyat vibhuti mat sattvam. Wherever, whatever vibhuti or opulence of mystic power or anything you see, it's mam tejo ansha sambhavam. It's what? Only an ansh, a spark of my splendor, ansh of my teja. So who is Krishna? Nobody can understand. So devotees, one thing is devotees understand whatever capability, capacity I have, it's only by the mercy of Krishna, and it should be used in the service of Krishna. That's it. Then he is a devotee. If he, and demoniac is, whatever I have, I'm a self-made man, I have these powers and I'm going to use them for my enjoyment. Minus Krishna. Forget about Krishna. Devotee enjoys more. Same powers he can enjoy, but when he uses them in the service of Krishna, Krishna gives him back everything. Plus adds his mercy to it. That's the only difference. This is what Krishna consciousness is. Prabhupada says, devotees automatically have all mystic power, but they do not like to compete with Krishna. Instead, they fully surrender to Krishna, and the yogic power is demonstrated by Krishna's mercy. Devotees can show mystic yoga so powerful that the demon could not even dream of it, but they never try to demonstrate it for the person's sense gratification. Whatever they do is for the service of the Lord, and therefore they are always in a position superior to that of the demons. There are many karmis, yogis, jnanis who artificially try to compete with Krishna. And those ordinary foolish people who do not care to hear Srimad Bhagavatam from authorities consider some rascal yogi to be Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. At the present moment, there are so many so-called Babas who present themselves as incarnations of God by showing some insignificant mystic wonder. And foolish people regard them as God because of lacking knowledge of Krishna. In fact, many times, or devotees don't even bother to deal with these Babas because they don't want to waste their time in engaging with this kind of Babas. So Trinavarta took Krishna very high in the sky, and then Krishna became heavy. First he was heavy, Mother Yashoda put him down, he became light, Trinavarta carried him, and when high up in the sky, Krishna again became heavy without changing his size. That's why he's Yogeshwara. And it is said in another place, you know how high he went? 1 lakh yojans. So 800,000 miles. That's how high he went up in the air. We go for little bitty height on this roller coasters and we get dizzy. Krishna went 800,000 miles up in the sky. So there's nothing small when we are dealing with Krishna, when we are seeing or hearing about Krishna's pastimes. Nothing small here. Yeah. It's inconceivable. When I remember, because as an engineer, once I had to climb a tower here to check some beams, and I had all my training done first of all, and had my harness and fall protection system, and I had my hard hat on and everything, and then I went up, and all the staircase, everything, the ladder was completely protected. And I went, I went up was maybe 100 feet or so, not too high. But the wind was little strong that day, and I just took some pictures and I came down. I said, forget it, I'm not going to be here for too long. And I was actually at that time, I was thinking of how these Pandas in Jagannath Puri, they go up on the temple, on the chakra to change the jhanda, to change the flag every day without any harness, without any ladder or anything. They just climb up on the stones. And they have nothing to grab onto, actually. And I was wondering, and once I think Ganesh Baba or Goody Bhaiya told me that it's about 200 feet or so. Of course, we don't measure the height of Jagannath temple in feet, but understanding what we're talking, it's about 200 or so. And he himself said he went once and he said, forget it, never going up there again. He got dizzy and he was going to fall. And just imagine here, Krishna is going 800,000 miles up in the sky. And he's enjoying. He really enjoyed the ride, but he didn't like the demon, so he killed him. तमशमानं मन्यमान आत्मनो गुरुमत्तया गले गृहीत उत्सृष्टुं नाशक्नोद अद्भुतार्वकम्. Because of Krishna's weight, Trinavarta considered him to be like a great mountain or a hunk of iron. But because Krishna had caught the demon's neck, the demon was unable to throw him off. So as you can see in the picture behind me, Krishna is holding on to his neck. He therefore thought of the child as wonderful, since he could neither bear the child nor cast aside the burden. Trinavarta intended to take Krishna up in the sky and kill him, but Krishna enjoyed the pastime of riding on Trinavarta's body and traveling for a while in the sky. Thus, Trinavarta's attempt to kill Krishna failed, while Krishna, Ananda Chinmaya Ras Vigraha, enjoyed this pastime. Now, since Trinavarta was falling because of Krishna's heaviness, he wanted to save himself by throwing Krishna off from his neck, but was unable to do so because Krishna held him very tightly. Consequently, this would be the last time for Trinavarta's yogic power. Now he was going to die by the arrangement of Krishna. So all these demons Krishna killed in Vrindavan, he didn't even use any weapon in Vrindavan. Only his hands or legs or kicks or slaps. And Putana, he just sucked her breasts and just killed them. Gal grihana nishchesto dastu nirgata lochana vyaktaravo neapatat sahabalo vyasur vraje. When Krishna, grasping him by the throat, Trinavarta choked, unable to make even a sound or even to move his hands and legs, his eyes popping out. The demon lost his life and fell along with the little boy down to the ground of Braj. Tamantarikshat patitam shilayam vishirna sarva vayavam taralam varam yatha rudra sharena vidham istriyo rudatyo dadrishu sametaha. While the gopis who had gathered were crying for Krishna, the demon fell from the sky onto a big slab of stone. His limbs dislocated as if he had been pierced by the arrow of Lord Shiva, like Triparasura. In transcendental life, as soon as devotees of the Lord merge in lamentation, they immediately experience the Lord's transcendental activities and merge in transcendental bliss. Actually, such devotees are always in transcendental bliss, and such apparent calamities provide a further impetus for that bliss. So Krishna creates. So if everything is sweet, 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 we won't relish it. So Krishna adds some sourness, some saltiness, some masala to it to make it more enjoyable, his pastimes, his relationship with the devotees. Pradaya matre pratihritya vismita krishnam cha tasyo rasi lambamanam tam swastimantam purushadanitam vihaya samritya mukhat pramuktam gopyascha gopah kil nanda mukhya labdva punah praparativa modam. The gopis immediately picked Krishna up from the chest of the demon and delivered him, free from all inauspiciousness, to Mother Yashoda. Because the child, although taken into the sky by the demon, was unhurt and now free from all danger and misfortune. The gopis and cowherdmen, headed by Nanda Maharaj, were extremely happy. Now, gopis or Nand Maharaj or Yashoda, they could not understand how this little boy can be unhurt even if he went way up in the sky. So Yogmaya always covers them up. The demon fell flat from the sky, and Krishna was playing on his chest very happily, uninjured and free from misfortune. Not at all disturbed because of being taken high in the sky by the demon. Krishna was playing and enjoying. This is Ananda Chinmaya Ras Vigraha. In any condition, Krishna is Satchidananda Vigraha. He has no unhappiness. Others might have thought that he was in difficulty, but because the demon's chest was sufficiently broad to play on, the baby was happy in all respects. It was most astonishing that although the demon went so high in the sky, the child did not fall down. Therefore, the child had been saved virtually from the mouth of death. Now that he was saved, all the inhabitants of Vrindavan were happy. And then they were thinking, oh, Narayan must have saved him. Aho batate adbhutam esha rakshasa balo nivrittim gamito abhyagat punaha insra swapapena vihinsita kala sadhu samatvena bhayad vimuchyate. It is most astonishing that although this innocent child was taken away by the Rakshas to be eaten, he has returned without having been killed or even injured. Because this demon was envious, cruel, and sinful, he has been killed for his own sinful activities. This is the law of nature. An innocent devotee is always protected by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and a sinful person is always vanquished for his sinful life. So this is what gopis and gopas were thinking. Krishna conscious life means innocent devotional life, and a sadhu is one who is fully devoted to Krishna. As confirmed by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, bhajate mam ananyabhak. Anyone fully attached to Krishna is a sadhu. Nanda Maharaj and the gopis and other cowherd men could not understand that Krishna was the Supreme Personality of God, playing as a human child, and that his life was not in danger under any circumstances. Rather, because of the intense parental love for Krishna, they thought that Krishna was an innocent child and had been saved by the Supreme Lord, Narayan. But because in Vrindavan, this mood, parental or friendly or conjugal mood, it just takes over, and then nobody thinks he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the material world, because of intense lust and desire for enjoyment, one becomes implicated in sinful life more and more. Therefore, the quality of fear is one of the aspects of material life. But if one becomes Krishna conscious, the process of devotional service diminishes one's polluted life of material existence, and one is purified and protected by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In devotional life, one has faith in this process. Such faith is one of the 6 kinds of surrender. Rakshishyati iti vishwasa. That is one of the symptoms of surrender. One of the processes of surrender is that one should simply depend on Krishna, convinced that he will give one all protection. That Krishna will protect his devotee is a fact. And Nand Maharaj and the other inhabitants of Vrindavan accepted this very simply, although they did not know that the Supreme Lord himself was present before them. There have been many instances in which a devotee like Prahlad Maharaj, Adhur Maharaj, has been put in difficulty, even by his father, but has been saved under all circumstances. Therefore, our only business is to become Krishna conscious and depend fully on Krishna for all protection. So this is what we have to do. Our only business is to become Krishna conscious and depend fully on Krishna for all protection. So for that, Krishna will slowly give some trouble or the other, some problem or other in our life, and you will see who are we thinking of, who are we surrendering to at the time, or who are we calling for help in the time of problem. That's all he wants to see. Kim nastapash chirnam adhokshajarchanam purteshta dattam ut sohridam yat sampareta punareva balako dishtya sabandhun pranayan upastitha. Nanda Maharaj and the others said, we must previously have performed austerities for a very long time, worshipped the Supreme Personality of Godhead, performed pious activities for public life, constructing public roads and wells, and also given charity, as a result of which this boy, although faced with death, has returned to give happiness to his relatives. See, they were so simple. Then Maharaj confirmed that by pious activities one can become a sadhu, so that one will be happy at home and one's children will be protected. In Shastra, there are many injunctions from karmis and jnanis, for karmis and jnanis, especially for karmis, by which they can become pious and happy even in material life. According to Vedic civilization, one should perform activities for the benefit of the public, such as constructing public roads, planting trees on both sides of the road so that people can walk in the shade, and constructing public wells so that everyone can take water without difficulty. One should perform austerity to control one's desires, and one must simultaneously worship the Supreme Personality of God. Thus one becomes pious, and as a result one is happy even in material conditions of life. So these pious activities, as Krishna also says, yajna, dana, tapa, should never be stopped. So this pious activity, then giving charity. But Nand Maharaj is thinking, because we have done all this boy is saved. Of course, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. Who can harm him? Drishtva adbhutani bahusho nanda gopo brihadvane vasudeva vacho bhuyo manya mas vismita. Having seen all these incidents in Brihadvan, and Maharaj became more and more astonished, and he remembered the words spoken to him by Vasudeva in Mathura. So Brihadvan, there are 12 ones in Braj, and all these 12 ones, they have different spots of pastime. So Gokul comes under Brihadvan. I don't remember all the names of different ones. 7 are on one side of Yamuna and 5 are on the other side of Yamuna. Ekadarbhakam adaya swankam aropya bhamini prasnutam paya yamasa stanam sne pariplata. Okay, so that is another pastime. So coming back to Trinavarta, what anartha it represents. So there's a different acharyas. Bhaktivinoda Thakur actually he mentioned this. Trinavarta represents the false pride produced by useless scholarship, which gives rise to wrangling debates and arguments, dry reasoning and dry logical indulgences in the association of people who are attached to such things. It produces controversy, which is disloyal to the path of pure bhakti, such as Mayavad and Buddhism. It is a breeding place of demoniac, sinful philosophies. So, useless scholarship, false pride produced by useless scholarship, because then we bring out so many so-called philosophies other than surrendering to Krishna. Lord Krishna becomes moved by the humility of his devotees who carefully avoid this fault, and he strangles the demons and removes a thorn from his devotees' endeavors in devotional service. According to the Brahma-Vaivarta Purana, in his last life, Trinavarta was a king of Pandya Desh named Sahasraksha, who was cursed with Durvasa Muni for appearing naked before him while the king was enjoying with his 1,000 wives. So he was cursed to live on earth for 100,000 years and then be killed by Lord Krishna. So when he was cursed by Durvasa Muni, as it always happened, they fall down at the feet of the Muni and beg for forgiveness. And then Durvasa Muni says, okay, I cannot change the curse, but you will be killed by Krishna and then you will be liberated. So the anartha, and it further says, we might wonder where we get the idea that Trinavarta represents the anartha of mental speculation. But there seems to be a hint in Brahm Samhita. It says, I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord. Only the tips of the toes of his lotus feet are approached by the yogis and jnanis, who travel for billions of years at the speed of wind or mind. We can all understand how great the speed of mind is. Even if it travel for billions of years, the yogis or jnanis can only come to the tips of the toes of the lotus feet of Krishna. Means Krishna still remains inconceivable because they want to understand Krishna by their own mind. And this is what Prabhupada says. Even if such a great thinker travels for millions of years at the speed of mind, he will still find the Supreme Person unknowable. Yet for one who takes undeviatingly to this path of Krishna consciousness, Krishna is easy to obtain. Why is this? Nikta Yuktasya Yogina. Because such a person is constantly engaged in my devotion service and I cannot forget him. So this is the process. We have only to become submissive to attract the attention of God. Prabhupada says, my Guru Maharaj used to say, don't try to see God, but work in such a way that God will see you. God will take care of you. You don't have to try to see him. That's all. So in one conversation, Prabhupada, a devotee asked, this Bhagavad Gita is the science of Krishna consciousness. Nobody can become Krishna conscious simply by mundane scholarship. Prabhupada. Yes, simply because you've got some titles, MA, PhD, DSc, you will understand Bhagavad Gita. It's not possible. This is transcendental science. It requires different senses to understand. And that sense you have to create. You have to purify by rendering service. Otherwise, even great scholars, like so many doctors and PhDs, the mistake, what is Krishna? They cannot understand. It's not possible. In fact, there was once Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya, big scholar and freedom fighter. He had some questions and he went to see Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was outside his ashram. He was sitting outside. And Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya went to him and he said, I have a few questions about Krishna. Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj told him, why don't you go inside and ask my cook? Or my cook is working, help him first. Malviya ji was a big scholar and I think he was in the government also. And he was taken aback. What is this Maharaj saying? And Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj said, just go inside and see what my cook needs help with. So 10-15 minutes passed by and then Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya came outside and Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj was there. Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj, so what questions do you have? And Malviya ji said, all my questions are answered. Because the pujari or cook inside, when Malviya ji went inside, he said, why don't you do some dishes, wash some dishes here, need some help here. So when he did the service, Krishna from inside gave him all the answers he wanted. So this is what our process is. We do the service and Krishna will take care of everything. All the questions can be answered. His mercy is there to protect us. But if the service is not there, try to understand with our little brain, with our thinking that I have scholarship, I have so many degrees, I can understand him. There's no way. In his purport to Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 687, Srila Prabhupada explains, the fact is that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Super Soul, cannot be attained simply by explanations, logic, and erudite scholarship. One cannot understand him simply by one's brain substance. Even by studying all Vedic literature, one cannot understand the Supreme Lord. However, if one is slightly favored by the mercy of the Lord, if the Lord is pleased, one can understand it. But who are the candidates eligible to receive the mercy of the Lord? Only the devotees. They alone can understand what is the supreme personality of God. The Lord reveals himself to the sincere devotee when he is pleased with his service. Swayameva Sfurtiyata. One should not try to understand Lord simply from the statements of the Vedas, nor should one uselessly attempt to decry these statements through reasoning and logic. So Vedas are great, statements are great, Vedanta, so many scriptures. By our reasoning, by our own intelligence, we cannot understand. At the same time, we cannot decry, as Prabhupada said, we cannot say these statements are wrong or false. No, it's just beyond our understanding. That's all. So without the mercy of the Lord, it will remain inconceivable to us and will come out with all sorts of contorted, speculative ideas about him. So that's where the problem is. So we have to just become devotees. Serve him, serve him, serve him. He will give the understanding. That's it. So then by his mercy, we can understand. So further pastimes of Krishna. Ekdarbhakam adaya swankam aropya bhamini prasnutam payayamasa stanam stehe paripluta. One day Mother Yashoda, having taken Krishna up and placed him on her lap, was feeding him milk from her breast with maternal affection. The milk was flowing from her breast and the child was drinking it. Now what happens? Pita prayasya janani sutasya ruchirasmitam mukham lalyati rajan jirambhato dadrishe idam kamarodasi jyotiranikamāsha suryendu bahami shusan buddhinscha dvipannagastad duhitra varnani bhutani yani sthirajangamani. O King Parikshit, when child Krishna was almost finished drinking his mother's milk, and Mother Yashoda was touching him and looking at his beautiful, brilliantly smiling face, the baby yawned, and Mother Yashoda saw in his mouth the whole sky, the higher planetary system, and the earth, the luminaries in all directions, the sun, the moon, fire, air, the seas, islands, mountains, rivers, forests, and all kinds of living entities, moving and non-moving. See, what kind of pastimes it does with Mother Yashoda. By the arrangements of Yoga Maya, Krishna's pastimes with Mother Yashoda were all regarded as ordinary. So here was an opportunity for Krishna to show his mother that the whole universe is situated within him. In a small form, Krishna was kind enough to show his mother the Virat Rupa, the universal form, so that she could enjoy seeing what kind of child she had on her lap. The rivers have been mentioned here as the daughters of the mountains. Nagansh tad duhitrehi. It is the flowing of rivers that makes big forests possible. There are living entities everywhere, some of them moving and some of them non-moving. No place is vacant. This is a special feature of God's creation. So we have studied in Bhagavatam earlier in third canto or fifth canto, I think. Description of the universe and this deep and that deep and how big is that, how far from Earth is that planet and this planet. And he showed everything in his little mouth to Mother Yashoda. Just imagine the situation of Mother Yashoda, what she must be going through. Who is this boy? Sa viksha vishvam sahasra rajan sanjata vepathu sammilya mriga shavakshi netre asita suvismita. When Mother Yashoda saw the whole universe within the mouth of a child, her heart began to throb, and in astonishment, she wanted to close her restless eyes. Because of her pure maternal love, Mother Yashoda thought that this wonderful child playing so many tricks must have had some disease. She did not appreciate the wonders shown by her child. Rather, she wanted to close her eyes. She was expecting another danger. Now she was thinking, oh no, not another demon now. And therefore her eyes became restless like those of a fawn. This was all the arrangement of Yogamaya. The relationship between Mother Yashoda and Krishna is one of pure maternal love. In that love, Mother Yashoda did not very much appreciate the display of the Supreme Personality of Godhead's opulences. At the beginning of this chapter, two extra verses sometimes appear. Evam bahuni karmani gopanam samya sayoshitam nandasya gehe vavridhe kurvan Vishnu Janardana. So there's another Bhagavatam, I mean, same Bhagavatam, but maybe different acharyas, as Professor, two different verses also appear, and he is explaining those. To increase the transcendental pleasure of the Gopas and Gopis, Krishna, the killer of all demons, was thus raised by his father and mother, Nanda and Yashoda. Sripad Vijayadhwaja Tirtha also adds another verse after the third verse in this chapter. Vistareneha karunyat sarva papa pranashanam vaktum arhasi dharmagya dayalustvam iti prapo. Parikshit Maharaj then requested Shukdev Goswami to continue speaking such narrations about the pastimes of Krishna so that the king could enjoy from them transcendental bliss. So he was getting all the bliss. He wanted Shukdev Goswami to continue. So thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of 10th canto, 7th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Killing of the Demon, Trinavarta. So we still have time. We can start the 8th chapter, entitled Lord Krishna shows the universal form within his mouth. So same pastime continues. Shri Shukuvacha Garga Purohito Rajan Yadunam Sumaha Tapa Prajam Jagama Nandasya Vasudeva Prajotita. Shukdev Goswami said, O Maharaj Parikshit, the priest of the Yadu dynasty, namely Garga Muni, who was highly elevated in austerity and penance, was then inspired by Vasudeva to go see Nanda Maharaj at his home. So here will be the name-giving ceremony. I don't know why the chapter says Lord Krishna shows a universal form. Okay, maybe it later happens. Tam drishva param prita pratyuthaya kritanjali anarchadhoksha jadhya pranipata purah saram. When Nanda Maharaj saw Garga Muni present at his home, Nanda was so pleased that he stood up to receive him with folded hands. Although seeing Garga Muni with his eyes, Nanda Maharaj could appreciate that Garga Muni was Adhokshaja. That is, he was not an ordinary person seen by material senses. So Garga Muni was inspired by Vasudevji to go to Nanda Maharaj. Why? Because Garga Muni was actually the Kul Guru of Vasudeva. But he was inspired that Vasudevji thought that both the boys should get the proper name-giving ceremony done. And maybe Nanda Maharaj won't be able to do it properly, so he asked Garga Muni, you should go there. So Garga Muni himself came. And Nanda Maharaj, being very respectful, he received him. Supavishtam kritatitham girasu naritya munim nanditva pravid brahman purnasya karvamakim. When Garga Muni had been properly received as a guest and was very comfortably seated, Nanda Maharaj submitted with gentle and submissive words, Dear sir, because you are a devotee, you are full in everything. Yet my duty is to serve you. Kindly order me. What can I do for you? Mahad vichalanam niranam grihinam dina chetasam nishrayasaya bhagwan kalpate nanyatha kvachit. O my Lord, O great devotee, persons like you move from one place to another, not for their own interest, but for the sake of poor-hearted grihasthas, householders. Otherwise, they have no interest in going from one place to another. As factually stated by Nanda Maharaj, Garg Muni, being a devotee, had no needs. Similarly, when Krishna comes, he has no needs, for he is Purna, Atmaram. Nonetheless, he descends to this material world to protect the devotees and vanquish the miscreants. This is the mission of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and devotees also have the same mission. One who executes this mission of Paropakar, performing welfare activities for people in general, is recognized by Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as being very, very dear to him. Similarly, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has advised his Paropakar, and he has especially advised the inhabitants of India. Bharat Brumite Haila Manasya Janmaya. One who has taken his birth as a human being in the land of India should make his life successful and work for the benefit of all other people. On the whole, the duty of a pure Vaishnava devotee is to act for the welfare of others. So Garg Muni also, and Nanda Maharaj is saying, you're a devotee and this is what you do. You just travel and give your mercy. Nanda Maharaj could understand that Garg Muni had come for this purpose and that his own duty now was to act according to Garg Muni's advice. Thus he said, please tell me what's my duty. This should be the attitude of everyone, especially the householder. The Varnashram society is organized into 8 divisions: Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas. And Maharaj represented himself as a Grihi, a householder. A Brahmachari factually has no needs, but Grihinam, householders, are engaged in sense gratification. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Bhogyashvarya Prasaktana. Everyone has come to this material world for sense gratification. And the position of those who are too attached to sense gratification, who therefore accept the Grihastha ashram, is very precarious. Since everyone in this material world is searching for sense gratification, Grihasthas are required to be trained as Mahat, great Mahatmas. Therefore, Nanda Maharaj specifically used the word Mahad Vichalanam. Garg Muni had no interest to serve by going to Nanda Maharaj. But Nanda Maharaj, as a Grihastha, was always perfectly ready to receive instructions from Mahatma to gain the real benefit in life. Thus, he was ready to execute Garg Muni's order. So this is how, and like Nanda Maharaj, Yashoda Maya, they're perfect Grihasthas. And this is how he received Garg Muni and asking him, please tell me what's my duty. Very humble and very respectful. Jyotisha-mayanam sakshat yattat jnanam atindriyam pranitam bhavata yena pumana veda paravaram. O great saintly person, you have compiled astrological knowledge by which one can understand past and present unseen things. By the strength of this knowledge, any human being can understand what he has done in his past life and how it affects his present life. This is known to you. So because Garg Muni, he knows, he has prepared horoscope and he could tell. The word destiny is now defined. Unintelligent persons who do not understand the meaning of life are just like animals. Animals do not know the past, present, or future of life, nor are they able to understand it. But a human being can understand this if he is sober. Therefore, as stated in Bhagavad Gita, Dhira Satra Namoyati. Sober person is not bewildered. Simple truth is that although life is eternal in this material world, one changes from one body to another. Foolish people, especially in this age, do not understand this simple truth. Krishna says, Dehino asmin yathavi. As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. Krishna, the greatest authority, says that one will change one's body, and as soon as one changes one's body, one's whole program of work changes also. Today I'm a human being or a great personality, but with a little deviation from nature's law, I shall have to accept different type of body. Today I'm a human being, but tomorrow I may become a dog, and then whatever activities I've performed in this life will be a failure. This simple truth is now rarely understood, but one must be a dhira. One who's a dhira can understand this. Those in this material world for material enjoyment should know that because a present position will cease to exist, they must be careful how they act. This is also stated by Rishabdeva. Although this body is temporary, as long as we have to live in this body, we must suffer. Whether one has a short life or a long life, one must suffer the threefold miseries of material life. Therefore, any gentleman, Dhira, must be interested in Jyotish or astrology. But astrology has to be done properly by proper astrologer. One who knows what he's doing, one who knows how to read the chart properly. Nand Maharaj was trying to take advantage of the opportunity afforded by Garga Muni's presence, for Garga Muni was a great authority in this knowledge of astrology, by which one can see the unseen events of the past, present, and future. It's the duty of a father to understand the astrological position of his children and do what is needed for their happiness. Now, taking advantage of the opportunity afforded by the presence of Garga Muni, Nanda Maharaj suggested that Garg Muni prepare a horoscope for Nanda's two sons, Krishna and Balarama. Of course, this is the reason he was sent by Vasudevji anyway. Tvam hi Brahma Vidam Shrestha Sanskaran Kartum Arhasi Balayor Nayor Pranam Janmana Brahmano Guruhu. My Lord, you are the best of the Brahmins, especially because you are fully aware of the Jyotish Shastra, the astrological science. Therefore, you are naturally the spiritual master of every human being. This being so, since you have kindly come to my house, kindly execute the reformatory activities for my two sons. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, says in Bhagavad Gita, Chatur Varnyam Myasrishta. The four Varnas must be present in society. The Brahmins are required for the guidance of the whole society. There is no such institution as Varnashram Dharma. And if the human society has no such guide as a Brahman, human society will be hellish. In Kali Yuga, especially at the present moment, there is no such thing as a real Brahman, and therefore society is in a chaotic condition. Formerly, they were qualified Brahmins, but at present, although they are certainly persons who think themselves Brahmins, they actually have no ability to guide society. The Krishna consciousness movement is therefore very much eager to reintroduce the Varnashram system into human society, so that those who are bewildered or less intelligent will be able to take guidance from qualified Brahmins. So this was the purpose of Prabhupada's society. So people will have proper Brahmins to take guidance from. Brahman means Vaishnava. After one becomes a Brahman, the next stage of development in human society is to become a Vaishnava. People in general must be guided to the destination or goal of life. And therefore, they must understand Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The whole system of Vedic knowledge is based on this principle, but people have lost the clue, and they are simply pursuing sense gratification with the risk of gliding down to a lower grade of life. It doesn't matter whether one is born a Brahman or not. No one is born a Brahman. Everyone is born a Shudra. But by the guidance of a Brahman and by sanskar, one can become Dvija, twice born, and then gradually become a Brahman. Brahmanism is not a system meant to create a monopoly for a particular class of men. Everyone should be educated so as to become a Brahman. At least there must be an opportunity to allow everyone to attain the destination of life. Regardless of whether one is born in a Brahman family, Kshatriya or Shudra family, one may be guided by a proper Brahman and promoted to the highest platform of being a Vaishnava. Thus, the Krishna consciousness movement affords an opportunity to develop the right destiny for human society. Nand Maharaj took advantage of the opportunity of Gargamuni's presence by requesting him to perform the necessary reformatory activities or sanskaras for his sons to guide them toward the destination of life. So even Krishna Balaram, Supreme Personality of Godhead, they also had to go through all this. So it's not some superstition or some money-making scheme by Brahmins that we have to do all this. See, because of lack of proper Brahmins, killing of Brahmins, lack of scriptural knowledge, our society, which should be the upholder of Vedic knowledge, it has completely gone down. People have no faith in the scriptures and Brahmins and in all the traditions, the rules and regulations. They have lost faith. So, but we have to take it up seriously. And then when we preach, people like Prabhupada, when he preached, people developed faith in all this. And now more and more and more and more people are joining and developing faith. So we have to make sure we take it up seriously, sincerely, and make sure others also grow up spiritually. So I guess we can stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments?
Prabhuji, I have a question.
Yes, Manta.
So, does this mean that we should be donating more and more to Brahmins so that they can grow their knowledge also and help others?
Say again, I lost. I didn't get it.
Okay. Can you hear now, Prabhuji?
Yes, Manta.
Okay, so your last line, so based on that, I had a question. So should we be donating more and more to Brahmanas, helping them so that they grow and help the society also grow the knowledge? How would that help? And is that our duty, or please guide?
Oh, okay. Well, one should always donate to Brahman, but better than that, one should become a Brahman. Why can't you study scriptures and become Brahman?
Okay, Prabhuji.
And when you preach, well, because you're following, chanting, studying scriptures, then it will have more effect on others, right? That's the idea.
But they have been doing it for long time, and they must have some ancestral knowledge also. So we feel ourselves as very beginners to be compared to them, as compared to them.
Well, with the mercy of Prabhupada, he has given plenty of books. We can develop this knowledge easily. So many proper disciples, they were not born in this Vedic families from America, Europe, Japan, and everywhere. And they took up the process, they took it up seriously. And they're wonderful Vaishnavas. They've written so many books. Different Sanskrit also they have written. Devotees have learned Bengali, Sanskrit, Hindi to preach in India. Those who had no knowledge of even all these languages. Tamal Krish Maharaj, Omapati Maharaj, they learned Chinese too because they were given orders to preach in China. Devotees learned Russian who had not a Russian background to preach in Russia. So we all can learn. We should learn.
Okay, thank you. That very well explains. and motivates
and
others.
then and preach. That's it. It's not like it's for somebody else. No, it's for me. I have to do it.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mata. Okay, we'll stop here. You all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Jai Srila Prabhupada.